Hello, my name's Lindy Cowling and welcome to my channel. My website is www.lindycowling.co.uk. My email is info@lindycowling.co.uk. And this short video, I'm anticipating it will be quite short because I wasn't expecting to come out onto camera again today, is embedding the 12-dimensional blueprinting, or embedding the 12D blueprint. So what do I mean by 12D blueprint? In third dimensional reality, in the third dimensional paradigm, there were, still are, for those that are continuing on in that reality, there are certain templates, and we could say certain blueprints laid down. And as we go up through our spiritual evolution, as we connect in to our highest expression of our spirit, the spirit that we are, these blueprints change in form, and so it isn't one blueprint or one template for everyone that starts at 3D. It evolves, and there is different blueprinting as you go up through your level of expression of consciousness, through your level of spiritual evolution, through your level of spiritual maturity. And as you elevate on a spiritual level into your heart, the portal of your heart, there is a vast new world, if you like, a vast new arena of templating and blueprinting. Until recently, I only had the knowing and the awareness of the reality of the fifth dimensional blueprinting in the heart, and I knew that people were able to experience higher than fifth here, but it's only just come into my awareness that there is a 12D template or 12D blueprint. That is not to say that overnight we as a species are suddenly being able to tap into the full 12D. There will be exceptions to that, you know, people on this planet that already have highly evolved soul, very highly evolved beings, very, very spiritually in the embodiment of source, that I have no doubt whatsoever can go right the way up through there and can access at that level. But for the majority of the man and the woman on the street, those that are not still in third, and a proportion are in third, those that are not, there will be some in fourth and some beginning to access fifth, but there is the ability with this new blueprint being embedded, integrated by us at this time, that it's all laid out there ready for us to step into it. So how can I explain this simply? So if you have a baby, when the baby is born, there will be a blueprint laid down, you know, between a certain period of time. The baby will be crawling, then it will be walking, then it will be talking, then it will be doing all these different evolutionary steps. You wouldn't expect the baby to be born and then be running around the house and, you know, writing huge, great works of art, effectively, when it had only just been born a week. That's the simple way of explaining it. We are embedding, we're integrating this new blueprint. It's happening, and in fact it's already here. It's just that we haven't been aware of it again, but it's here. It's a question of evolving into it. So some people will access it at 5th. Some will be born that can access higher than 5th automatically. So some will go in at entry point, say 7. Some will already be here that are able to do that. Let's call them the forerunners of that template or blueprint. So I'll call it suggestion here, is that the access point, the minimal access point to that, the integration of that 12-dimensional 12D blueprint, the access point that we start embedding it at is 5th dimensional. That's the bottom rung, if you like. It's so funny because we've been striving, thinking, oh, it's like the ultimate to get to 5th, and then we realise there's a little bit more beyond 5th, and now talking about, you know, that's like the bottom rung. It all depends on what trajectory of evolution you're on, where you're at, what frequency you're at. But that's really strongly become aware of to me, really actually in the last 24 hours. So that's being accessed by some beings, some people, some human beings on this planet, some souls on this planet now, that are coming in at different entry points. And then there is, I'll call it a chunk of people, a wave of people that are able to access 5th. Obviously, that's all interconnected with the heart. Let me make this really plain. You cannot access that blueprint ladder, that's 5 to 12 level of frequency or consciousness. You can't make that leap from a 3rd dimensional awareness or base chakra functioning awareness. It's like the baby again. Let's talk about the baby. The baby don't go from being born to understanding algebra, you know, a minute after it's born. It has to grow and go through a process. So depending on where your growth is, where you're at, will depend on your entry point. But there are some souls already here that are automatically, they start at a level of 5th and up. They don't gradually work their way up to 5th or come from 3rd to 5th. They're already going at a higher entry point. Few of those souls are making themselves known. Others are not known in the public eye, and they're doing their stuff, and they're putting out their frequency, and they're doing their stuff quietly. But the ones that are in the public eye will make themselves known, or are starting to make themselves known. Again, I've said this before, the unseen is going to be seen. So again, that word discernment, you're just going to have to really learn as part of this evolutionary step, like we all are. I mean, we're all learning this. You're really going to have to trust your own knowing and your own intuition and your own gut feeling and your own awareness on some things. All others can do is they can give you signposts or little pointers to help you along. They can point you back in the direction of your own spiritual growth and your own spiritual evolution, but they can't do it for you. They can't make the baby's legs move. until the baby's at an evolutionary stage where it can move and it can crawl and then it can walk and it's talking and all the rest of it. So there's a saying, I used it today actually with somebody: don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't put anyone up on a pedestal, metaphorically speaking, you know, whether they're a spiritual teacher, whether they're just someone in your family, friends. Don't elevate anyone up onto a pedestal and think anyone has all of the answers. Everybody's going through stages of learning here. There may be some that go through stages of learning slightly more than you know, slightly before others. It's not a race. Everybody's different, but there's no one that has all the answers to this. And I would be very wary of anyone that professes to have all the answers to this. There are many people that have little pieces of a very big puzzle that are contributing to the overall picture. There is not one person at the moment that has all of the pieces of that puzzle. There are many that have different elements of it, and it all was coming together to make one blueprint, really. The great news about this is once you are, what's happening is it's being laid down. So now it's being laid down and embedded and embodied. Let's use both those expressions here. We are embedding the 12D blueprint, the 12D template. We are embodying it. It cannot be embedded without being embodied. Embodied means living it, being it, breathing it, existing as it, bringing it fully into awareness. As part of that process, as I've discussed before, you go through evolutionary stages. Evolutionary stages of lots of things in your life changing, lots of things in your life falling away, lots of changes. It's like the phoenix rising from the ashes. Often, again, dark night of the soul. All of these steps, very early on steps actually, to get you to the, well, for some people, I was going to say the pinnacle. For some people, accessing 5D in the heart will be the pinnacle. And that will be fantastic, and that will be the absolute for them. For others, accessing 5D will just be the beginning, the baseline. It doesn't matter, we're not competing here. People are coming in at different levels of awareness. So, I mean, it is, you know, it's pretty exciting stuff. But we have to go through these stages, and when everything, you know, a lot of people are hitting a stage where everything's falling apart. Everything in their physical lives are falling apart, and it's all getting, you know, pretty overwhelming. And it is part of the process that's going on at this moment in time. And depending on your programming, your templating, your conditioning, your wounding, what you've been holding in your energy field, your childhood, multiple things, determines how difficult or how much suffering you're experiencing in that transition, really. And again, there's no judgment in that. Everybody's different because everybody's got different, you know, original different experiences and life experiences. So it really is, I mean, it's really quite exciting, because going hand in hand with this is, I've said on the last 3 or 4 videos, it wasn't resonating with me talking about 7 chakra system anymore. That to me is obsolete now. So for 3rd dimensional perceptual awareness, 7 chakras and possibly the idea of 8 is about as far as the belief system will go. But once you transition out of that level of awareness, it just won't resonate with you about the 7 and 8 chakra malarkey. Then it just won't. I've been saying for a while, I'm very aware that everything is on a minimal of 12, and I'm saying a minimal of 12. That's not the pinnacle. It's like the baseline again, a baseline of 12. So for me, when I say that, I'm seeing, I'm going to say at least 12. I know I can see 12, but I know there's more than that. It's a funny thing for me to say. It's a funny thing for me to say. I can see 12, but I know there's more than that. Obviously, my level of spiritual evolution at the moment leads me to have the knowing, the awareness there's more, but I can't see more than the 12 at the moment. But who knows? Next week, next year, who knows? But I know there are more there. So I find that exciting as well. I don't find that rocks my world particularly, because I'm very open to change, very open to the change of belief systems, and that doesn't challenge me at all to think that we have, or to have the knowing that we have more than the 7 chakras, or some people have been talking about 8. It's a minimal 12. We have to be wired at least on 12. Some people would link that in with the strands of DNA as well. It all feels like, I have to keep using the expression baseline. That's the baseline minimum. So this is not a surprise really, because as we evolve into different stages of consciousness, I see it like a ladder. I'm seeing it like a ladder. We get to the top rung, say we get to the top rung of 3rd dimensional, then we transition into 4th, and then we kind of evolve when we get to the top rung of 4th. And then we transition into 5th, and then you see there's a whole new, set of stuff there. Except, like I say, for those that are being born in automatically, they've got 12. They're on the 12, or automatically as part of their spiritual evolution, they're wired for 12. They came in already geared up for 12. So not everybody has to go through the slow, laborious, getting through all this 3rd, getting through all 4th, getting through all 5th. It's not like that for everyone. Some people are fast-tracked up the ladder. So if you came in with a mission, for example, to be a forerunner for templating, something along those lines, then you're already there. It's already laid down there, and in some ways it was dormant until it was time for it to become active. Well, now that is now available for the general public. So it's not just for the forerunners anymore. The 12, I don't know what to call it, the 12 is a 12D blueprint. It's embedding and embodying the 12D blueprint, which goes hand in hand with the chakras, hand in hand with the energy field, hand in hand with the DNA. It's now available for the general public. This is part of what people are experiencing, and what we are experiencing as what we're calling the new energy. When people, because it is new, because if people starting on a baseline of 5th and the ladder stretches up there before them, it is brand new. Everything that went before isn't taken into that level. You see, this is why it's been so difficult for many of us, and we've had to do all this clearing and purging and letting go of stuff. That was, in some ways, it was at a different level of the awareness and a different level of frequency, in a different, well, band really. Once you get onto 5th and up, you can't, that stuff isn't with you anymore. You can't actually drag it with you. You can't, what I want to say is you don't even get to that stage with that stuff with you. In other words, you're forced in 3rd and 4th to purge it. If you're going through that long route of going up through spiritual evolution like that, which a lot of us have been, you're forced to do the work. You have to do the work to even make it onto that baseline. Like I say, there are some on this planet that are not starting at working up through 3rd, 4th, 5th. Some are already born or hardwired in, or I would say it's been dormant in them and then it's been activated. This has been spoken about in a similar fashion under the umbrella of the Twin Flame Union, for example, that being one of the templates, not the template, one of the templates, the ascension templates for divine love and the evolution of us as a species on this planet, and that being wired in that way. But it's interesting because it's, I mean, it makes me smile because I'm actually having the knowing and the awareness of that now and kind of starting to experience it now. So I never speak on anything from conjecture, from speculation. I only speak on what I am directly experiencing, directly accessing, witnessing, working with, etc., etc. That's, so in other words, embodying it. And so it's a very new thing, but it's exciting because it also explains to me in the last week what I'm seeing in some of the clients I'm working with that are in very, very brand new energy with no attachment to it, no baggage to it, no junk to it. They're at a stage where it's brand new, squeaky clean, like just being born. I keep using that analogy because it's the easiest one to use. So we kind of embed this and we embody it by living it. It's, for many of us, it's a stage of evolution. For some of us, it's a mission to be part of a template that lays down that blueprint for others, but it's starting now to be available to mass consciousness. And I really feel strongly that in the next year to 2 years it will become very, very obvious, those that are very much the embodiment of that blueprint, and it will be right across the age spectrum, whether it's the older generations that have been templated with it, it's been sitting there dormant and activated, or whether it's younger ones that have just come in, born like it, activated. And I truly don't feel that they all start at 5th dimension. Some will come straight in higher than that. And indeed, actually, a long time ago, and that just came to me then, I have worked with 1 or 2 individuals that are already wired in to, I think it was 9th at that point, 9th, as part of their mission. They're already the embodiment of 9th, you know. So anyway, I hope you find that interesting. I think it's part and parcel of what's going on with what we call the new energy, the ascension, the results of the ascension that's been happening to millions on this planet. Like I've said before, and I have never deviated on this and still cannot deviate on it, millions have chosen to make that evolutionary step. Millions have also chosen not to. And you will go for a stage where you learn to accept that, and that is free will, that is people's personal choice to continue experiencing their reality through a different lens. If you are experiencing the new energy, it will feel very strange because it's a bit like being born, and this time, you know, you're not quite sure because there's not mummy and daddy standing there. It's like, what do I do next? And this is where you're called upon to create. You're called upon to run your emotions and express your emotions through your heart, to feel, not think it analytically, to feel and then express, and to create. You're into that arena then. So if you just stand there and wait and just keep looking around and waiting for someone to come, you're going to wait quite a long time, because the one you're waiting for is you. On that note, I'll love you and leave you. Hope that made sense. I really wasn't expecting to come on here again today, but this is how I seem to work. I'm compelled to share, and so I kind of drop everything really and get onto camera and do it. While I've got that facility to do so, that's what I'm being drawn to do. So I will love you and leave you guys. Take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.